The preseason. It's where identities are tested before they're ever judged on the field. It's where expectations are set quietly long before the lights ever come on. And for Fort Wayne FC, this isn't just another preseason camp. It's the first step into a professional season in a professional league with real standards attached to it. And that's why today's guest matters. Ryan Becher has scored goals at this level. He knows the pressure, he knows the pace, and the margins that separate teams who compete from teams who contend. And today, he joins Fort Wayne Footy to talk preseason camp, responsibility, and what it means to help set the standard in year one. Tonight's show kicks off right after this. This episode of Fort Wayne Footy is brought to you by OmniSource, one of America's largest processors, distributors, and managers of scrap and secondary metals based right here in Fort Wayne. Check out their services at omnisource.com. Fort Wayne Footy is also brought to you by LaserX, the Midwest's largest laser tag and arcade. They specialize in birthday parties, corporate team building, youth groups, sports teams, and family entertainment. You can find them at laserxfw.com. That's laser with a Z. And if you get over there, be sure to tell them Fort Wayne Footy sent you. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Fort Wayne Footy. We are excited to be with you tonight. And as you saw in our promo material, we have a special guest tonight. Ryan Becher is joining us to talk about the preseason expectations and some of his experience already in USL One with Union Omaha last season. So we are excited to get into tonight's show, and we are kicking it off with a new face on the show. Amanda Burge is joining us tonight. Amanda, how are you tonight?
Doing well. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to seeing how all this plays out.
Yeah, we are too. I mean, the show, not you nice. Joining us. Nah, we'll be nice. We'll be nice tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're excited to have you on. Last week, we introduced Sean and Anthony to the team, and Amanda is a new team member joining us this season as well. So be nice to her. But if you do have questions for Amanda in the chat, go ahead and drop those there, and we'll talk about those a little bit later in the show. Also here tonight, we've got Micah and Dustin. How are you guys?
Doing well. Thanks for having us, Brian.
Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah, and Dustin, it sounds like you forgot to pay the heating bill. Like that's in the chat already. That it's cold outside, so Dwayne's blaming you for that. So
perfect. Didn't know I had that much power. So
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
You are the soccer doctor.
You are the soccer. I forgot that introduction. The Dustin as the soccer doctor. Yep, that's him. So if you got questions for the soccer doctor tonight, you know where to put them. So we're gonna get into it. Hey, to kick off the show, we like to hit some quick hit news stories from around the area. Some soccer teams that have been playing. The MLIS or MLIS Pro games, Major League Indoor Soccer, the Summit City Sentinels played today, and they lost. It was a game 13-8 against Cleveland Crunch. Now I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys saw this game. Paul was texting me during the game watching. He goes, "It's not looking good, Brian. It's not looking good." It was 13-4 going into the fourth quarter, and so fourth quarter they held Cleveland to 0 goals and they scored 4 more themselves. So it was a fun end of the match. Have you guys played or watched much indoor soccer?
Yeah, I grew up watching that one back in Milwaukee. We had the Milwaukee Wave, so had season tickets to the Wave. We would go all the time. And growing up, I mean, that was really all that we had. We had the indoor with the walls and the concrete with a carpet over it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Shout out to Tecumseh for all the locals here.
I was going to say the Tecumseh. Yeah, that was way back when. Yeah.
Got in a conversation today about that.
I think I was there for Brian's last indoor match when you tore.
Is that where you tore your ACL?
No, that was
Achilles.
my plantar fascia.
No, that's what it was.
It was my fascia. Yep. That was at the Plex North.
Yeah,
jogging slowly without a ball and nobody near me, and it sounded like a gunshot. And I went, "Oh no, what just happened?" Yep, Dustin was there. I blame you actually for inviting me to play.
Sorry,
But,
Dad Bods FC. We never won a game, but we had a great time. That's all I gotta say. Yeah,
until we didn't, and never played soccer again after that.
Until Brian retired.
So
Yeah.
never at the level of Major League Indoor Soccer.
No.
But that was a fun game, end of the game to watch. The women's side, the Sentinels women's team traveled to Kalamazoo on Saturday night, won 7-6 and a come from behind victory there. So congrats to the Sentinels women. The MLISX team was supposed to play 1927, the men's team out of Sport Club today. That game ended up getting canceled. I think they didn't have enough players or something because so many of them were out in Phoenix, Arizona playing with their club sides. There's some futsal tournaments, regionals next weekend. I believe those are in West Michigan. That's where that all happens. We had the youth national, like there was a big national tournament that some of these Fort Wayne teams went to. And there were 3 teams, I believe, that qualified. Do I have that right? 2 from Fort Wayne United, the men's and women's U19s, won their divisions, and then the 09 girls, Dresden from Fort Wayne Sport Club, won their division and qualified for national. So 3 from United and 1 from Fort Wayne Sport Club is what I'm getting backstage here from Todd. Thank you for that, Todd. Always appreciate you there. And so, yeah, a lot of good stuff happening, a lot of youth soccer. We love talking about that and highlighting that and promoting that, which is why we are starting a second show to talk all about that here sometime this year. We do not have a date for that yet, but it is coming up. And we just want you to be aware of that because there's a lot of good stuff happening. And we can't cover it all on Footy on Sunday night. So, let's talk about preseason camp here just for a minute before we bring Ryan on. There was a sighting on social media of a particular individual that fans have been asking us about for months, and that is one Ari Briscoe hanging out at Fort Wayne FC preseason camp.
Well, I think you broke the news last week when you were sleuthing on his Instagram and saw that he was in Fort Wayne. So we were just preparing for it. We didn't drop it. We didn't say he was here, but then the pictures from the club the club basically showed that he was here. So we knew it was a possibility, but there's still no news, still no signing. But he's here.
No official announcement yet, but he was seen in all the social media posts. So for a very short time you have to kind of pause it a little bit, and which I did. I paused. I'm like, that's Ari. That's him.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
No, that was good to see him out there. And another local face that I've seen pop up there. I won't mention a name in case other people don't know who it is, but another local player here from Fort Wayne has been out there and getting some time in preseason there. So we're excited to see some local talent out there on the field in preseason as well. A couple things tonight, just to give you a heads up, those of you who are watching live and joining us on the stream, we are going to take some questions as we go, but we're going to have a segment at the end of the show. If you have any general questions for us here at Fort Wayne Footy, if you've got general questions about the team, formation, things like that we've been speculating about that we don't really have real answers to, but you're interested in hearing our take on something or whatever, we'd love to get to those. So drop those in the chat. If we don't get to them right away, we will at the end of the show. We have a segment there at the end to get to it. So I do see something. Christina, soccer moment of the week. Thank you so much for asking. Man, you win over Fulham. So yeah, I did not ask. We kind of did away with that soccer moment of the week segment there, but at least for now. So
I was a little nervous that was coming up tonight, so I grabbed one just in case, but I'm thrilled that we're not doing it.
We did not grab one, so we'll make you do yours.
Soccer moment of the week.
So if you got one, Amanda, share it. Like we've heard the intro.
Yeah, we had some fun friendlies today and may or may not have had a goal called back for a volleyball spike into the back of the net. The whole team gasped. Luckily, it was, I think, our 9th goal. And the player turned around. She said, "Coach, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know." And we're all sitting there. We're like, don't laugh. It's fine. Don't laugh. And it was a handball. Everybody just kind of turned their heads and the keeper got a restart. Never seen it.
The rule on that, if that's a legit game and that's an obvious handball by an attacking player, it goes into the goal. Is that a straight red?
Not
it is
today.
for a defender
Not
that
in
saves it.
friendlies.
Not to,
Not in
Not today.
friendlies. Yeah.
I mean, not in
But,
but
the
a legit
keeper
game. If
paired
it's in a real game, like you're coaching at a college level,
Yeah.
is that a straight red?
Yeah. Well, I've coached at a college level and I've also been an official for a long time, and I cannot answer that question. I'm guessing Todd or Paul can pull that
Todd
one
said
out
no.
for us.
Todd said no,
Okay.
it's not.
So it's just a restart. Direct,
What
I
is
assume.
the opposite of dogso?
Well,
What is
I
the
don't know what the
like-
opposite of denial of obvious goal scoring opportunity. Maybe our guest could help us out tonight. We're going to go ahead and bring him in to the show now. So welcome Ryan Becher to the stage. Ryan, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys doing? Glad to be
Doing
here.
well. We're glad to have you here on Fort Wayne Footy. We're glad to have you in Fort Wayne playing with the side that we support here in USL League One. Before we get into the real questions, do you have an answer for that? Like if an attacking player hits a ball obviously with their hand above their head into the goal, what's the call on that?
I mean, Diego Maradona did it once, and it was allowed. So I guess.
Okay.
No, yeah, right. Didn't quite have the video review, the VAR back then either. So, yeah, I mean, if you can get away with it, that's one thing, right?
Why not?
Have you ever done it?
Try it this season. See what happens.
Friends that I've tried. But,
Yes, jeez.
Well, hey Ryan, welcome to the show. I'm going to give a little background, what we know of you, and let you fill in some of the gaps. You played with Philadelphia Union Academy. I believe your last year, U19 year, you mentioned to us with Philadelphia Union Academy. Played with University of Maryland, Baltimore for a number of seasons, and then played your final season in 2023 with UCLA. And then from there, made your way to St. Louis City 2. Played for a season, moved to Union Omaha last year. And from what we know, you're coming in as a goal scorer for Union Omaha, 9 goals in 22 matches with them, and moved over here to Fort Wayne FC to start off the 2026 season. So lot of history there with some storied clubs in UCLA and St. Louis City. Even their short time in Major League Soccer, but St. Louis has a rich soccer history there. And then with Union Omaha in the USL One. What did we miss? What else in your career that would be helpful for us to know about?
No, I mean, you pretty much nailed it all. I guess I will add, I did play USL 2, so the same level that the club was formerly at. I played in Reading in Pennsylvania, and then I also played for Ocean City Nor'easters for one summer. So been in and around that league, and know the USL just from being around the sport for a while now. But yeah.
Hey, we've got our crew here has some questions. If you guys want to just grab those, pick those off as we go through the rundown, go for it. But I just want to start off with your time with Union Omaha. We had a conversation amongst our team, right? Before this about length of contracts in USL 1 and USL 2. So my question is, because you've had time with St. Louis City, time with Union Omaha, contract lengths with USL, are they typically 1 to 2 years? Is that what we're learning here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably pretty standard, but then again, it really depends on the club, the player, and just a bunch of different things that will go into it. Yeah, you probably see a little bit longer of contracts in the MLS than you would in USL. But yeah, I think it's more just the club per case scenario. But yeah, I'd say 1 to 2 years is probably a good range for the average.
Yeah.
So Fort Wayne, you have a little bit of some family history here in Fort Wayne. Tell us a little bit about that and why you chose to come to Fort Wayne to play.
Yeah, no. So my dad played in Fort Wayne for the Flames and Indiana Kick, and it was his first stop professionally. So those are both indoor teams back in the day, way before my time. But no, yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Fort Wayne from him. He always would tell me a bunch of stories that he probably doesn't want me to repeat on here, but we talked about it as a great town supporting local sports and everything, and the other sports that are here as well, with the Tin Caps and Comets. I've only heard good things about that. And then I had some friends that played USL 2 in Fort Wayne, so I reached out to them and talked to them a little bit about their experiences here, and they all had great things to say. Those names would be Seth Antwi. I played with him in St. Louis, and then Sean Karani and Grayson Duty I played with at UCLA. So group of guys that enjoyed their time here and really recommended the place.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. We've heard, consistent from the new players that we've talked to, a consistent level of, Fort Wayne seems to be like a place that takes care of their players. Like, this is a place that was really welcoming to me when I came for a visit and whatnot. So I think that's been pretty consistent across the board. And so just to hear you say similar things, makes us feel good as fans that we've got a place that we live in, a place that people want to come because of our ownership that's ambitious, but our ownership that wants to take care of people as well. So you've had some success, and we mentioned that earlier in USL League One with Union Omaha. Your 9 goals. I didn't look at the assists and things like that. I'm sure you were on the board there as well, with points and contributions there with the team. How does your experience in like USL 2 and USL 1, your experience there, how does that lend itself to helping this new team, this new group of guys that you've mentioned, you've talked about a couple times already? How does that help this team prepare, knowing that you've already been there, you've seen the level, you've had some success at that level? What do you bring to the team in that way?
I think it's a great question. I think especially USL 2 is very similar to, starting a new team, because you guys know it from the years prior, you get a bunch of new guys in and it's a whole new team. So experiencing that in USL 2 has allowed me here now to just start to get comfortable with guys and, have good conversations, do stuff outside of team training, just to, familiarize myself and each other with the group. But I think in terms of the league itself, it's been, I think maybe 2019, I could be wrong. I think that was the first year of the league, and it's just grown crazy since then. Every year it seems like, just watching it, it's getting better, and more teams are obviously coming in. So I think for me, just having a little bit experience in the league is nice, but at the same time, I think it's going to look different again this year than it did last year, even for the 6 months that I was in it. So I think anything that I can help, I will, but I don't want to say this is what it's going to be like for sure, because I don't think it's going to be necessarily exactly what it was last year.
Yeah, and some of that too is there were 14 teams there last year, and now there's 18. There was supposed to be 21, and so the league is rapidly expanding. So it's almost like you never really know fully what to expect, because there's so many expansion teams coming in and other teams that like Texoma that bump themselves down right to USL 2 again. So yeah, that's a good thought.
Ryan, what do you see along those same lines? What do you see as some challenges for the club in this promotion season, first season with USL 1? You've seen them both, and you've seen that next level up. What are potential challenges that the crew needs to be waiting for and ready for?
Yeah, no, I mean, in any league, bringing a bunch of new guys together is always going to be tough, and there's going to be a little bit of a grace period. So the beginning of the season is definitely going to be tough, especially being on the road. We got the stadium opening in May, so having 4 or 5 or how many road games you have at the start of the season will be tough. I think also what you'll find in this league is, obviously there's the development aspect. You're still trying to develop players, but everyone's in there to win, and every style is going to look different, and teams are going to do everything they can to win the game. So I think you might see a little bit more of that in this league versus maybe a USL 2, where every game start to finish feels competitive, and there feels like there's a lot on the line. Not that USL 2 isn't competitive, but it just has that different feel. Being a longer season, it can feel like, oh, maybe all the games don't matter, but they do. I mean, I can tell you firsthand, they all matter, especially with the way the league's set up this year. We're playing every team twice, so you want to win a series against each team, whether it's a draw or whatever it is. So yeah, I think being optimistic about the start, and then I think we should be hitting good form through the summer, and really finish strong.
Awesome.
We talked, Micah, go ahead.
No, I was just I've been able to watch some highlights of yours, especially last season with Union Omaha. What can the fans expect to see you as a player? Like, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Yeah, no, I think I played a ton of different positions. I think this will be my third year professionally. I've played every position but right back and goalie. So I've kind of been all over the field, and I think my role here ideally would be more of an attacking role. And there's a quote I like with Thomas Muller. It says, and that's kind of a player that I see myself kind of like in ways, just like a good IQ of the game and understanding what's around me and everything. But I'm not. And the quote's saying like he's not going to beat you with his 1v1 dribbling. He's not going to beat you with pace. He's just going to beat you. And I think that kind of sums me up in a way. You're not going to watch my game and be like, oh, he's flashy, oh, he's fast. But somehow at the end of the day, I'm scoring goals, winning games. I think that's something I hope to bring here as well.
Yeah, you always seem to pop up in the right places just at the right time. So definitely excited to watch that this year.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what you want from, whether it's a striker playing the 9 or playing out of the midfield, which I saw a couple highlights of you doing too. That's where you want those attacking players, right? Showing up in the right places at the right time. And a lot of that comes with building trust with your teammates, I imagine, right? And the extra time that you have in the preseason, we'll talk about later in the show, the extra time you have in the preseason with USL 1, the 6 weeks of preseason that you had 6 days potentially of preseason in USL 2. So a lot of that I think is probably developing in this preseason camp. How would you talk about or talk to us just for a minute about what's happening in preseason camp, what you can share, things that you're seeing the team and players develop as?
Yeah, no, I think, the good thing about a long preseason is you can be competitive right from the start. And trainings have been very intense this first week, a lot of playing, a lot of getting after it. And, guys, whether they're trialists fighting for a spot or a signed player, fighting for a specific role in the team, which is really good. And I think in a shorter preseason, you got to be more cautious. Like, hey, we got games coming up. We want to make sure, we just kind of get an understanding of who we are in that. And obviously we're doing those same things as well. It's not all going to be fighting on the field. But I think that is a key component is we're going to be going after each other pretty much the whole 6 weeks of preseason. And I think in that you also gain respect for players as well when you're battling, each and every day. And I think preseason is time, it's tough mentally because you just want the season to start, but it is very important to, really get to know the system, get to know the staff, the players, and everything. So I think the first week's been good. They're saying we might go outside this week, so we'll see how that goes.
Jeez.
Good luck with that.
So
Yeah, have fun.
Anyone's got any heaters they want to bring on the sideline.
Hey, if we could be there, I'll bring a heater.
Yeah, right. You get us access, we'll buy a heater and we will bring it. Absolutely.
No, yeah, I mean, that brings up another question that maybe we weren't planning to talk about, though, is this season, it's a long season. We're used to summer games here in Fort Wayne from May to July. And now we're starting, like, we won't see the team officially in March, but the season starts in March. We will next year. We'll see the team here live in Fort Wayne starting in May. And then we'll get, depending on, the success of the season, playoffs go deep into November, right? So we might get some cold games at the end of the year, but you played there last year. You played in some of this. What was it like as a player, this long season then, going from, the cold, maybe sub-zero temperatures, sub-freezing temperatures and beginning of season, end of season, and then, 102, 103 degree temperatures in certain parts of the country in the middle of the summer?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a long season. And, the weather obviously isn't the best in the winter. It's not the best in the summer either. I think for me, my favorite part's the fall. And maybe that's why I like college soccer so much, because the whole season was some pretty good weather. But yeah, some of the days in the summer get pretty brutal. You got the water breaks and everything. Obviously, you guys experienced that the last few years. But no, I think with it being the long season, I think it's almost more important to, find things outside of playing just to keep your mind in a good spot, because it can be so long where you're, maybe you're in a little rough spot in terms of form or training. And, if you're just kind of sitting on your own, getting back from training every day, in your own mind, it gets tough. So I think, for me, just trying to find different things, whether it's with other guys or on my own or whatnot, I think that's a big key factor for a long season.
Along those same lines, a couple people have asked, and I saw it was on our list as well, but where's your favorite place, or where has been your favorite place to play?
In USL 1 this past year, I didn't play in Portland, but that place was rocking. That was pretty awesome. That was the first weekend I got to Omaha. So I did the trip, but wasn't registered yet to play. So a place that I would have played, Naples was cool. It was a playoff atmosphere, so definitely added a little bit more intensity there. So I'd probably have to go with that. It was a good crowd. It was loud, and obviously, like I said, the intensity of the game was good. Unfortunately, didn't end on the right side of it. Hopefully, can right those wrongs on March 7th. But I'd probably say Naples.
You expect that in the first game? Like, it's not playoff, obviously, but you expect their fan base to come out and support in that way?
Yeah, no, I mean, it seemed like, just watching through film, it seemed like they always had a decent crowd there and everything, and it's a cool little stadium and stuff. So I would expect to be decent, especially like a home opener. You would expect to get a good crowd going. Yeah.
We have a question in the chat here from Christina, who is head of the Fort Wayne, the Three Rivers Regiment here. Says Omaha Parliament's a solid supporter group for Union Omaha. How do you feel about playing against those fans next season?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I had some good conversations with a lot of people there, a part of the Parliament group, and they reached out to the team and give us a little gift baskets here and there and stuff, and they did a lot for us. So it was definitely a good group, and I'll definitely show my respect.
Yeah,
there you go.
Let's hope they do the same. Let's hope they do this.
That's always the thing, right?
I know.
Is the ex-player the villain or the hero that's returning, right?
Right.
And so I guess that's yet to be determined, but that'll be a game we'll have our eyeballs on. This season for sure.
3 times with the cup as well.
That's right. That's right. So you're there. No, they're here, right? They're here for the cup.
Twice, but three games against.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had there's talk in the chat, and we saw this about your time with the UMBC, right? And a top 10 Sports Center top 10 play of the week goal there. Walk us through that.
So it was my senior night, and I forget what minute it was. It was late in the game. We were winning, and one of our center backs clipped the ball forward. Their defender kind of cleared it out, and I kind of took a juggle touch over the kid and volleyed it, and it was an alright goal. But my dad still gives me some crap because some of my friends and their parents were over on that side, and I ran to the bench. So he would have been on Sports Center, and I was like, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey,
you gotta go where your teammates are, right?
Exactly.
On the note of accolades that you haven't shared, Brian, you mentioned the 9 goals, but you weren't sure about assists. I've seen something along the lines of maybe in 2022, you were the only player in the country that had double digits for both goals and assists. Is that true? And is that something maybe we can look forward to this season?
Yeah, that was my senior year at UMBC, and I think I always pride myself as someone to get teammates involved, and I think if you told me going into college that I was going to have more goals and assists, I would have been surprised because I always had more assists than goals kind of growing up. But I think that's something hopefully that I can continue and bring here. And obviously, if I have more goals and assists, that's great too. But
we don't care either way. It's fine.
Yeah.
But definitely like to get others involved. And sometimes I'll get a coach or family member or someone telling me I need to shoot more. But
I think selfless playing is key. We talked about this before. My youngest, we pay him $1 for an assist because he likes to score. So you got to teach it young. And so the fact that you had more than that, that's pretty awesome. So that's great.
At the same time, some of us have kids that like to get assists when they have open shots and don't take them. And so we try and tell them, like Ryan said, his dad said, like, shoot the ball more, right? When you have the opportunity to finish. Yeah, no doubt. One other question we had in the chat, and then I've got one more to close out this time with Ryan here, is the difference in physical demand from USL 2 to USL 1, and maybe just the length of the season that you've already talked about, but maybe more so like in the physical battles on the field. Players that are playing a full season, players that, they're pros now, they're dedicating their lives to this and not getting ready to go back to school to play for their team. But what's the difference in physical demand game to game in USL 1 than USL 2?
Yeah, no, obviously USL 2, you have a lot of, games twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes, and the trainings are a little bit less of a load. Whereas, the full season, you do get good recovery days and you can focus on your body more because you do have more time between games, but also you do have some more intense trainings and stuff. But yeah, in game, definitely a very physical game. Like you said, you got people that are, have families. They're, fighting for food on the plate for their kids and stuff. So it's different than, like you mentioned, just, kids in college looking to go back to school just to get some extra touches in the summer and try to win some games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ryan, I just have a kind of maybe it's not a selfish question, but it's outside the realm of USL 1. Because some of us have interest in Major League Soccer as well. And you've had, brushes with Philadelphia Union there in the academy and St. Louis City 2 there with their second team. And maybe have crossed paths with a head coach named Bradley Carnell, who won the Supporters Shield in Philadelphia last season. He had a, crazy good year with St. Louis, their first season. And now obviously no longer there. He's with Philadelphia and had a crazy good year with Philadelphia this year. What can us MLS fans, maybe that are fans of rival teams to Philadelphia Union, expect out of Bradley Carnell and the Union this year?
Yeah, no, I would think you're going to see a lot of what they did last year. It's not a team that's going to have a ton of the ball. They're going to be a team that is just going to kill you with the compactness, kill you with the pressing, and just taking advantage of opportunity. And, you saw that in his first year in St. Louis, and obviously saw that last year. And he's the type of coach that he gets a lot out of players that you don't expect to be, where they're at. And, they've had a lot of good players that they've sent on to other places from Philly, and they just got guys that come in and fill the role. And obviously their academy is unreal there, so they have got guys coming up through the pipeline as well. So I'm interested to see how some of those guys do. Some younger guys there that I know just from, being there as well. So excited to kind of see how they could turn on this year. And it'd be crazy if they could do what they did again last year. I think if I have some friends that are Philly sports fans, I think they would probably take a lesser of a regular season if they could push over the hump in the playoffs. But no, I think it should be another good year for them.
Yeah. I have a friend that'll say Bradley Carnell can get anybody to run through a wall for him. But you can only hit that wall so many times. At some point it wears you out. So looking forward to that. But really, more importantly, Ryan, welcome to Fort Wayne. We're excited to see you out on the field with our side, Fort Wayne FC, scoring some goals, putting balls across for assists, and just being a team player out there. So thanks for joining us here, and we look forward to seeing you out on the field when the season begins.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, guys, and have a good rest of your Sunday night.
All right.
Thank you.
You as well. Get some rest. You got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Hey, we'll get into the second half of our show right after this.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Dead One Pest Control. If you've been looking for a local pest control service in Fort Wayne and surrounding communities, look no further than Dead One Pest Control. They work with both residential and commercial clients to get rid of all types of pests, including those dreaded bed bugs. No job is too big or small for them to handle, so you can count on their capable crew for whatever local pest control service you need. Reach out today to schedule an appointment at deadonepestcontrol.com. And remember, the only good pest is a dead one. And if you're looking for tree service of any kind, including removal, trimming, stump grinding, or landscaping, check out R&T Tree Experts. They work year-round, even through these cold winter months, so you don't have to wait for spring. Just visit their website, fill out their estimate request form, and be sure to tell them Fort Wayne Footy sent you to receive 10% off your service.
All right. Thanks to our sponsors who help us out here paying the bills on this show and getting all the equipment we need to pull off what we do here for fans in Fort Wayne. I do want to mention our Patreon supporters, Christina Copeland, Ryan Smeltzer, and the Snyder family for their support over there. If you'd like to join us and help us expand what we're doing this year, which we've talked a little bit about with the second show, with some writers, some photographers this year, if you're interested in joining us there, we've got $5, $10 a month tiers. We have options for one-time donations on Patreon. This year, you've got some additional perks of discount in our merch store if you're a Patreon supporter, and Discord chat for away matches that we can jump in and have some conversation together. Hey, if you're interested too, we did want to mention our merch store. We've got some of our designs up here on the screen. If you're interested in checking any of those out, fortwaynefooty.com/store. You can purchase everything right there. It's all printed when you order it. So there's not a stock of it, except if you're a local fan, we do have a small stock of the Fort Wayne Footy hoodies that we can connect. I can get you one of those if you're interested. Save you some of the fees from purchasing it online. So check that out. If you're interested, if you've got questions about any of the merch or anything there on the store, we would love to talk to you about that. All right. Hey, let's get into some preseason conversation, right? We talked a little bit about it with Ryan when he was here just a moment ago, but as fans, like, what are the things that we're expecting in a preseason, right? And so to give a little context, to frame this part of the conversation, right? Fort Wayne FC has 3 consecutive division titles in USL 2. We are a fan base that has been spoiled the last 3 years, right? With the on-field product, right? All of that without more than a week of preseason before that first game. Coach Avery's talked about it a couple times, that maybe you have one day with the player before your first game. Maybe you have players showing up after that first game and they're there for week 2. Now, their entire season last year was 12 weeks, if you remember that, right? 12 weeks from May to July, including playoffs, right? 6 weeks of preseason this year. That's half of the entire season last year. They've got 6 weeks to work together to build some pairings, to build some confidence, to build some, their style of play this year that maybe we would have seen mid-season form last year. We get to maybe see perhaps game 1 this year on March 7th in Naples. Coach Avery talked a little a few weeks ago when he was with us. We've heard him here in other interviews about his approach to training camp, and he's talking about building a common language, not just because we've got guys from around the world speaking different languages, but what does it look like to talk soccer in Fort Wayne, to be part of Fort Wayne FC? What's the language we speak? What are the things that we talk about as a team that build community? He talks about building character, building confidence, building community as a team, right? And last year they didn't have a ton of time, but he's a coach that gets a lot out of players. Like we talked about just a minute ago with Bradley Carnell, maybe, like he gets a lot out of players. And so with these players coming in, raw talent, like fast guys, good on the ball, high soccer IQs, guys that can adjust to different formations. Now they get to go beyond that. They've got time to develop as a team. So the question is, if you were Coach Avery, what are your priorities right now? Knowing you have 6 weeks of training camp that you never had before, what are your priorities, Amanda? You've been a college coach, high school coach, club coach.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, when they're bringing players in from all over, you're looking for buy-in first and foremost. So he's casting a vision. He's communicating to the guys, this is who we are, this is where we are, and this is where we're headed. So he needs to gain buy-in in that. And then after that, it's all about cohesion. So you've got the buy-in, but how do we take all of these varied backgrounds, all these varied perspectives on the game, all of the different skills, talents, and abilities, and then create a unit. So you don't just want to be a roster on paper. These guys need to become a family, and they will. And in 6 weeks, that's a privilege. That is a ton of time, specifically because they haven't had it before. But to be able to cast that vision and then have time to walk it out, it's going to create a huge advantage for them stepping into the season.
Yeah. Micah, your thoughts on, your coach Avery. You've got time with your team. What else are you looking for?
Just letting the kids, they're not kids, right? Letting the men
to us,
right. But
They're kids.
get to know each other. So you start recognizing the little intricacies of each player's different playing style or what they can add. And you're looking for those little cues. Say if you have a central player and the right back needs to go forward, what's that cue to spring him forward, right? So it's those little details that they'll get with just playing together. You mentioned it, Brian, that they relied on, the individual players' high soccer IQs where they didn't have, the time that they have now. So I think we're going to see a very sharp team on that very first match because we've talked to Coach Avery several times, and he's a great communicator, and he's able to get his point across and really build that team.
Yeah. No, I think that's, obviously you're developing a lot of that and trying to work on a lot of that in preseason. You guys said a lot of the same things I would have. I may chime in here in a second, but Dustin, I'll give you a chance. Like anything to add to what they've just shared?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all, when we were talking, it was like the cohesion and like buy-in is the biggest thing for these players. I think it's again a privilege that they have these 6 weeks to, to show who they are, to show the dedication that they have. I'm looking for, how dedicated are these players? It's a long season. Some of these guys coming from USL 2 up to USL 1, are they dedicated? Are they ready for this? Are they, are they prepared for the long season and for the work that's going to have to be put in? It was interesting to hear Ryan say that, you have more time between games, but you have some more intense, training sessions. And so what does that look like for these boys? Like what are they gonna put in? What are they gonna show on the pitch? Off games, and so I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah, what the standard is and who's going to hold that standard.
Yep.
Well, too, Ryan mentioned it. The stakes are a little higher for these guys. We're not getting touches on the ball and heading back to school. We're putting food on the table. Like that has a big impact. And I think it elevates the level of play almost by default.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we talked with Ryan too about length of contracts. For most of these guys, it's 1 year or 2 years for a variety of reasons. Right. And so they're either trying to make it into a higher level of play. And so they're not committing to longer than 1 or 2 years. But there's a lot of turnover in this league too, and guys bouncing from one team to the next, trying to make the next opportunity work. Right. And so even in that, they're trying to perform and show what they have in the one season that they might have. They don't have the luxury of sitting out in holding out in preseason for a better contract. Right. They don't have that luxury because it is only a year. Like I got to perform now. And so to see who those guys are that really step up, I'm sure everybody's stepping up their level of play in this preseason camp. But to see who that is that takes the lead in the leadership role in the captain band in game one, that's yet to be determined.
Yeah, I think we've already established that Ryan's a really quality player. He's been successful at every level he's been at. UCLA is a top program. Then he went to St. Louis. Then he went to Omaha. This is his third team in 3 years, right? So and that's not a knock against Ryan, but I think that's a nature of the league, that everyone has to keep fighting for that next opportunity because you don't know when it'll come or you don't know if it'll come.
Yeah. I think, the things I would add to that question that you guys have somewhat already talked about is work rate. Definitely. Like, who are those guys that are out there battling, challenging? And again, I'm sure everybody is, but if you're not, it's going to stand out when everyone else around you is, right? Like your attitude off the ball, things don't go your way. Like what's your next step? What's your next action that you take? I think coaches are looking for those sorts of things because that's where character's developed, right? And that's what Coach Avery talks a lot about, is that character development, who you are on the field and off the field, right? I'm looking for developing a play style too. Micah, you mentioned the cues that you're looking for. Like, another friend of mine calls it like repeated, like, patterns of play, like predictable patterns of play. And so when, your number 9 has the ball, where's your number 10 going? Where are your wingers going? What are they looking for? What spaces are they looking into? So the 9 doesn't turn and play the ball, between the left center back and the left back, and the winger's like, what are you doing? I'm not running there. We've never done that before. You're looking to develop a style of play. And then I think the other thing too that I'm looking for is finding the right on-field pairings, right? If you play with a 2 striker system or a 1 striker system or 3 up there, right? Who works best off of each other? And you could have 11 quality players on the field, but they don't all mesh the same as maybe this guy and this other guy that's on the bench. When you bring him in, the style of play changes, right? So I'm looking for those type of pairings too, that you can't find in a week and a half of preseason, that maybe you can find in 6 weeks. So Micah and Amanda, let me just ask you, like, as you've coached at different levels, right? What are the things you're looking for, like in those pairings and those matchups on field? What situations are you putting players in to see how those things develop before game 1?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is going to come down to these preseason exhibitions that they have, preseason matches. And Ryan talked about it as well, where it's not everyone's going to play full 90s, that a lot of it is going to be getting to know you. So I think these preseason games are going to be very, very important, because it's one thing to play in training, but then it's different when you get into the 11-a-side actual match.
Yeah. I'm looking for trust and creativity. So you can see very quickly players who trust one another, and that gives them the freedom to step out and be creative with the ball, on and off the ball. When you see that early in a season, it's only going to build and develop as it moves on. And then other players around them are going to pick up on that and be like, yeah, we can count on him time and time and time again. If you see it in preseason, you're locked in for the season.
Yeah. Kind of piggybacking on that thought, or that last question of what are you looking for in preseason? Like, what are the outcomes now? You've got some preseason matchups. There's a question in the chat about is all of preseason in Fort Wayne. I don't know that we know that definitively. So I don't know that we can answer that well, but we do know there are some preseason matches. We've heard rumors of those. Ryan talked about maybe 1 or 2 a week. We do know they're closed. At least the ones that are scheduled now are closed to the public, so we won't have an opportunity to see those or watch those. We'll hear reports of those afterwards, I imagine. But the outcomes, what are you looking to see in those matches, besides, the pairings, the work rate, that sort of thing?
I think for me, it's what does the team do in adversity? Like, you want to have adversity, you want to have close games in preseason before you go out onto the pitch and play in the regular season. That's where you develop mentally, and you prepare to know how to come from behind, or how to not let going down completely affect the rest of the game. And so facing some adversity, I think, is going to be key for them, especially early on. New team, new players playing together, and then facing adversity together. How do you step up? How do you manage that? So that's what I would like to see.
I think go ahead, Amanda. No, I think I go back to the quote from Coach Avery from the event that we had, where he was describing, I think, JP Morgan, right? And he goes, in one of the conversations they had, Coach Avery was just asking him to describe himself. He goes, "Coach, I'm a dog," right? Like, and it's those types of players that really make the team go, that they're going to go all out. So I think you're also looking for those types of players, as the water pail kids that's going to carry the bucket of water anywhere they go, right? So I'm looking for those types of personalities as well.
Now, I just have to ask, like, was that a joke pointed at me, or did you really just call him JP Morgan again?
What did I?
It's JP Jordan.
Not the.
I thought you were throwing shade at me, Micah.
No, Brian, I tell you every day my goal is not to embarrass you, and I absolutely did embarrass you. So, hey, man, if you want to fire me, go ahead.
I-
You
Brian
didn't
started
embarrass
it.
him.
It's not
He's
your
the one
fault.
that said it. He
I
said it.
I
Yeah.
thought you were just making fun of me. No, that's
It's been a long weekend. It's been a long day.
I
Coach
love it.
games
And I'm
today,
also
I'm
glad that
tired.
I'm not the only one that has done that. So
JP Jordan. We have to have him on the show now.
yeah,
Like,
we absolutely do. JP, if you're listening, man, we would love to have you on and set the record straight with your last name. We're gonna put like post-it notes on our computers so that we have it right. Christina says JP Morgan, put it on a t-shirt because we won't get in trouble for that at all.
No.
Yeah, there's a story there too that
Future
we may
sponsor.
tell you someday.
Coming our way.
Yeah,
One
maybe,
day.
maybe
One day.
sponsor.
Oh gosh.
and
This
Dustin's
is a mess.
passed out.
This is a mess.
I flipped his computer.
See, you know
upside
what?
down.
You
I
know
don't
what?
what's
Amanda
happening
was
here.
so nervous
We're off
about
the
like
rails.
this. I know that Amanda was nervous about this being her first show, and guess what? All three of us have completely messed up. So you're
Hey, we're
good.
not
You know
done
what?
yet.
You're
We're not done
hosting. You're hosting next week.
still
You're
have 10
hosting.
minutes, guys.
She says
Yo,
we're not
truth
done
be told,
yet.
my
All right.
17-year-old did the tech for me. This is not my game.
No one was gonna say that.
No.
So there you go.
I'm happy. I don't need the credit. Hey, so
All
back
right.
on track.
Back to the question
yeah.
that was outcomes. What are you looking for?
So I'm looking for shape and formation development. I can't tell you how many teams I have recruited and signed thinking, oh yeah, we're going to play this formation. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And you get them together and you start to watch them play. And all of a sudden you're like, no, we're not. We need to shift and get creative with what we walked into this season thinking we were going to do. And the outcomes are fantastic. And so preseason's a great opportunity to do that. Try some things, throw some guys in positions that they may not have come in thinking they were going to play. Try a couple of formations and see what works best. Club team that I coach, we did that in a showcase in November. And I told the players and the parents, I said, please just be patient. We're going to try a couple of things. This is the time. And the first one did not go so well. We pivoted. The second one, much better, played it for the next day as well. And the players just settled in. It was like a collective deep breath. And this is the time to do that for them. So as they try to develop what that looks like, maybe it is checking some preconceived idea and saying, man, these guys are really working together in this fashion. Let's chase that. And this is definitely a great time to do that.
Yeah, Micah, any thoughts to add to that?
No, I think that's right on. You know, like there's that flexibility, that tactical flexibility that needs to happen. You know, but I think I'm excited to see several formations in different situations and really manage the game more than what they did in USL 2.
Yeah, I would add to that, Dustin, if you want to jump into, I want to see beyond the formations. Like I want to see goal scoring chances created. Like that's how you win games, right? Whether they're going in or not right now, I want to see how those chances are coming, what part of the field they're coming from. Are they coming from midfield transition through the middle, or are they coming from the wings, coming in to a guy that's 6'3" like Ryan is, getting on the end of a ball with his head, or is it low crosses across the middle? Like how are those chances being created? And are they being created in the ways that we're trying to create them, right? And those predictable patterns of play and the style of play that the rest of you talked about, right? How are those chances being created? And then ultimately, like defensive shape, that is super important. And we talked, how do we want this team to be built? We talked about it from the back, right? And we had center backs, named to the team early signings. We've got a new one in James Musa that just signed with the team, is an experienced left-footed center back. We didn't even get a chance to talk about him yet. But a guy that's been in multiple leagues, bringing some leadership to a back line that at least was pretty solid in USL 2. We'll see what they bring in USL League One. So I'm looking for defensive shape and who is that leader in that back line that's going to step up. We have some already, and all of these guys have been leaders on other teams. Who's the guy that steps up to lead, to be the leader of leaders across that back line? That's what I'm looking for in this preseason.
Well, and I think like backstage, a couple of guys have said we have not signed a forward, correct? we still don't have anyone yet that is a forward to know who is going to be, that force up front, or up top. So, I think we've got a really strong back and a lot of attacking mids. So we know we've got goal scorers at the mid level, but we still don't have any of those up top guys yet. So I'm excited to see what that looks like over the next couple weeks, because you got to imagine it's coming, as they start to sign more and more players. And maybe sleuths have seen some in the the practices, but yeah, we still don't have that. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up.
Yeah. Do we have a correction on Musa's position here?
See, yes, just based on Instagram, it appears that he is a solid midfielder.
Okay.
Because I looked up on some other places and said center back, left center back. So
Interesting.
I don't know that it said in the press release. That's what I was trying to figure out. So if you know for sure,
Yeah, it's got 7 matches in the MLS, 231 USL Championship level.
Yeah.
Played with New Zealand's national team, and they've got him listed as a midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Very good. I was wrong. I stand corrected. That's why Amanda's here.
Yep.
That is why Amanda's here.
This just came full circle. He said, "Hey, when you're on the show, please don't hesitate to push back at me." So there you go.
I did.
Task 1 done.
I did. Very good.
Check.
Welcome. Glad to have you for that very reason there. And the fact that you're not throwing your computer like Dustin was here just a second ago. So, hey, we did want to get to some questions. We promised we'd get to some questions from the audience listening here. And so I've got a couple lined up here. The first one I think we addressed a little bit from Matt McWilliams is the entire preseason at Fort Wayne. Are there any scrimmages? Yes, there's some friendlies. I've heard rumors of maybe who they're playing, but I don't know that for sure. And I don't know where they are, but I do know they're closed to the public. So we'll look forward to the outcomes of those and the match reports there. That not that they've been promised, but we're hoping to see some of that. So we know as fans going in. Christina asks, how excited are you guys for doing live stream commentary at watch parties for Fort Wayne FC away games? Dustin, you want to field that one?
Sure. I mean, I'm up for it. I'm in. Let's figure it out. Let's do it. Is it where are we going to be?
Where are we going to be, Christina?
Probably
where
Two
are we
Toms,
gonna
right?
Be? Two Toms, or don't they go to JK's a lot? It's called what is it called? The yard?
The patio,
it's the pitch.
Shoot. The pitch. Okay.
Yep. So they're at JK O'Donnell's. Yeah, for sure. We'd love to entertain that.
Absolutely.
The opportunity there to do some away game live commentary. We will do some definitely some Discord comment and some chats there. And if we can do the live stream commentary for watch parties, we'd love to entertain that. Another one from Matt McWilliams. He says, from a budget standpoint, I'm guessing they'll spend roughly 10 times more on wages and travel this year. How is the club financially? Ideas on where they'll stand in terms of wage, bills, revenue in USL One. I'll start by saying we don't know.
Okay. I was like, don't say you're going to start and then pass it to us.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're going to say.
We don't obviously know the ins and outs and the details of all that, but we did do a show a couple weeks ago about the CBA and USL Championship and what they're looking for and how that trickles down to USL League One and some of these contracts and minimum salaries and things like that. So it is a big jump, obviously, from USL 2 to USL 1 for, again, 12 weeks to house players and feed them versus, March to November housing players and feeding them and paying salaries on top of that is kind of a big deal. So the team will spend more. I think Avery told us they'll fall financially, like salary wise, very similarly to most other teams in the league, which we looked at again 2 or 3 weeks ago, was about $1 million for an entire team salary. For the entire roster. So it sounds like they're going to be in that ballpark. But again, we don't know the ins and outs of these player contracts and what the benefits and all of that are. Have heard, there is a lot of travel involved. So first 2 matches are in Florida, about an hour and a half from each other, Naples and Sarasota. And so is it more cost effective for the team to stay in Florida or more cost effective for the team to fly home to Fort Wayne? So they're weighing all those options, right, to see what is most cost effective. I will share a story anecdotally, and they're joking with me in the chat about, hey, I'm an FC Cincinnati fan and blah, blah, blah. Let me say this. I did a live show with FC Cincinnati yesterday, and I talked to a former player, Paul Nicholson, that coached, as it relates to this conversation, coached Kingshammer in USL 2 for a couple seasons. I don't think he did last year, but for previous years. So was here in Fort Wayne. And in USL 2, he was talking about how good we have it in Fort Wayne, and just saying, we were on kind of a shoestring budget, and our travel and everything that we were doing, and we're trying to get bits and pieces together to get guys there to form a team to play at this level. And we get to Fort Wayne, and the amenities that these guys have, the food that they have, we were like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And so he was saying that at the USL 2 level. And I imagine that's one reason, again, speculation here, players want to be here in Fort Wayne because the ownership is, number one, ambitious. They want to win. They want to keep moving up, but they want the players to want to be here. And so they'll do their best to take care of them. And so that's how I would address that question. I don't know that anybody else has any other thoughts there, but if you want to chime in, if you have thoughts or anything there, go for it.
When it comes to, I just like Coach Avery, just try to stay in my lane. I know that the from the research that I've done, it's such a tight margin of profit and loss. I would almost expect the team to take a loss this first year, right as they build. But then when you're looking at year 2, year 3, everything's already established. So, it is a very tight profit margin. But from what I have seen, I think the club will do pretty well.
Yeah.
You have to imagine too, with Beasley having input in the room, significant input in the room. He knows what this path looks like, even though this specific league wasn't around. He knows where the expectations are, and he's going to do everything he can to make sure the players experience that. And so it's great to have somebody like him on board, being able to speak into that.
Yeah. We'll have hopefully maybe more answers as the season goes to those sorts of questions, but thanks for that question, Matt. That was a good one. Paul, our very own Paul Johnson, says, will they be able to play they want to play? I don't know where that question maybe is coming from, if it's a style of play, if it's like positions where they want to play, where they're most comfortable. You mentioned, Dustin, we haven't seen a striker, like a true number 9. On the roster yet. We do have, I think, 3 guys that they've signed that we've seen and heard can play any of attacking position from forward to, central midfield to winger. So that is, that's out there too. He says play style. Will they be able to play style they want to? And I think that refreshes my memory a little bit from a couple weeks ago when Coach Avery was talking about how teams in USL 1 play really on the front foot, attacking, going forward fast, and that this is being built for more of a possession game, and to see if they'll be able to play that style the way they want to in a league that doesn't necessarily play that way. So, yeah, I guess that's yet to be determined. We'll look forward to seeing how that plays out. And then we have a question from Justin Blair for Amanda. Are you superstitious? Do you have a match day routine or ritual?
So the boots got hung up 24 years ago, something like that. As a player, I definitely did. As a coach, it's the same that I start every day. The same coffee, the same music, the same everything that I do in my normal routine, because I feel like if I don't do those things, it's not necessarily a win or a loss, but I'm certainly not on my A game. As a player, it was the exact same tank top underneath my jersey every single time. And I worked very hard to not change my cleats between my sophomore year of high school. And those are the ones I hung up in college when I was finished playing. And so luckily my feet didn't grow. Kid you not, Brian. The same boots. Promise.
Were they okay? Let me guess. They were Copas.
They were, actually, because they're the best.
I had Copas that lasted years.
Yep.
That kangaroo leather is so dependable.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
I actually still have them, to be honest, and they do still fit. We spent some years in Mexico, and I got to play in a women's league down there. And I thought, oh, buddy, let's shove these dogs in there, and it worked out great. So I guess I
Jeez.
didn't officially hang them up.
Wow.
I wish I would have kept my Copas from when I played in college. The tradition was after your senior game, you threw them into the lake. So my cleats are somewhere in Lake Michigan. Somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
I would, and
found
to this
those.
day, I wish I would have kept them because I would probably still be wearing them.
Mine,
Absolutely.
like, they got all crusty. I quit taking care of the leather, and I put my foot in them, and they like cracked. But it was like 6 years later.
Jeez.
But yeah, they lasted my through my college career there, which didn't last long, if you know that story. That's a story for another day. Hey, thanks for joining us here on Fort Wayne Footy. I do want to remind you the season tickets are available for Fort Wayne FC matches. I got mine a few weeks ago, and there's some good seats still available, and there are no deposits required anymore. You can get right online and choose your tickets. Insider tip, give them a call. Choose your tickets, pay over the phone, avoid some of the additional fees there. But yeah, be sure to get your season tickets when it opens, May 2nd, Fort Wayne FC Park, with a lot of games in May, after a 5-game road stand
Away.
Yep. Thanks for joining us here on Fort Wayne Footy. For Dustin and Micah and Amanda, my name's Brian, and we will see you next week.